Thank you everybody for joining us. The first company that is going to be pitching is Quantum Interface.
Good afternoon. Thank you for all for being here, and thank you, Eagle, for putting this on. This is really amazing. You need to do it every week. What we do is we really change the human experience with everything that you touch, primarily with mobile devices, with digital interfaces, and with even the technology and the data. The biggest problems that we have today is our interface, which is primarily the GUI. It doesn't work the way our brain does. It's binary, not analog. It doesn't give us data in context, and it doesn't change based on our needs in real time and based on our intent. It doesn't give us a way to speed up our decision-making abilities. In fact, we should be able to do things at the speed of thought or even faster, and we can do that. The digital experience needs to know and predict and adjust in real time to what we want in context of everything else that we're looking at, from spreadsheets to databases to file explorers, all the way into IoT, MIoT, and data analytics. We also want to speed up our muscle memory, behavioral dynamics. Can you go back a little bit? One slide. And our cognitive awareness. And we can actually brand this information on the brain. This all requires a different human interface, and I'm going to express what that is today. Next slide. There we go. We provide a completely different human interface. It's based on a vector analysis of motion. We look at the human interaction, break it down into vectors, and then we cause the objects to respond to that vector analysis, which tells us human intent. And it provides faster and better location accuracy that works in XR, touch, and anything else because we're also predicting user intent. We modify the content and data automatically based on this system. We give the highest cognition and retention rates. We have found that we get on the average a 95% retention the first time you go through a process with this. And we actually provide a new metric, which is the user confidence. It's not just what you chose, but we know how confident you are in that decision and the intensity. That's in everything from training to advertising. And if you want hands-free interaction, you're not going to get it with the tapping or with gestures or with something else. You need to be able to have true gaze and true understanding of the user intent to make that happen. We have 50 plus granted patents. These are some of the companies that we work with. We were awarded the Gartner Best HMI Award. We don't put on here a lot of companies that are under NDA, and these include the biggest companies in the world that are providing new devices and past interfaces. Next slide. So this is a busy slide, so I'm going to go through it. The first, if you'll click on that first black to the far left, we're going to go from left to right. What we do is, oops, that's interesting. Works on mine. Never mind. Go back. I'll have to explain it now. Each of these were GIFs, and I'm not sure why it's really wanted you to see the way that we use our vector-based system. What we do is we're actually measuring the user's motion, and then we cause not just one object, but several objects in context to know our confidence in that group of objects, and then we cause those objects to respond. It works the same in touchless. So now in touchless environments, when I want to go in front of a screen and I want to work in 2 and 3D layers, it works. Maybe you can see, Asher, if you can make this work while we're talking. I guess not. The other thing is, in this, we also have an understanding of how the brain works. We have zero nausea inside of the VR experiences. And how do we do that? It's because we actually excite the peripheral vision and cause that to be the primary understanding of the context while the center or the retinal vision occurs. Yeah, you could show it that way. And so it's a way that we can actually see where we are now in time and even preview what that's going to look like in the future. Yeah, go ahead and touch that real quick, and we'll just have a bunch of things going on at once. Then this also means that we can provide dynamic lists so that we can move through. That's all right. I'll just talk through it. I'll use a lot of hand motions. Oh, there we go. So now this is the understanding of our SDK. The next click. And this is what it means that we can do inside of no-touch interfaces. It's 3D controls. These are all our patents. This starts with 2000, January 2000 technology, all to our later specs or analysis. And then the next one is, this is where we're actually seeing 2 different layers at once. You'll see this coming up quickly. And that's where you're seeing the future and the current at the same time. That's for locomotion and navigation. We have dynamic lists that show you multiple layers at once. That's 15 times faster than any other interface. And then we can apply this to the real world with AR persistence. So when you have one single data you create with this interface, it works across touch, PC, head-worns, and even in the augmented reality world and in the mixed reality world, where we can allow you to author and consume the content in seconds and attach it to the real world, just like we attached it to the automobile dial right there. So we take at the bottom there, go back one, at the bottom of it, what you'll see is that is where we take the vector analysis. Then we built the system that gives you the object understanding of what that intent is. We put it inside of a dynamic environment, and then we condense it all into a single point that the user can use, and they don't even have to understand. We make it easy. Next slide. Currently, our biggest markets are in the biopharma and in the DoD. We're new to the DoD space, but we're exponentially growing just over the last 3 months. We license our SDK and we work with other companies to embed it inside of their systems. We provide an entirely new training program that I'm going to go into in a second for the U.S. Air Force that they've said is the biggest change in the last 50 years and what they've been looking for. And then we also work in the biopharma world where we build flagship products. We work with 2 of the top 10 biopharmas in the world to create their new products, do their R&D, and provide it for enhanced instruction and consumer-facing products. We white label underneath of them, and there's several other countries. We build new companies. We build new kind of voice controls. We have new biokinetic security devices. It's all based on this single technology and how it interacts. Next. Our current traction, this is just in the DoD since May of 2019. We won a phase 1. That phase 1 went into a phase 2. We completed the phase 2 and immediately became licensed with the 355th. And now it's moving into the 19th with PTN along with Aloha Spark and the 535th. We were the only 4-time finalist inside of the AFWERX Base of the Future and Making Aviators Combat Ready. And 2 of those we're still working with. In October, we were requested by the 19th, and that was primarily with PTN, with the AETC, to take this learning tool that we built in our phase tool, which is for 360 videos, and where the instructors can create the content, and they can then have that entire lesson made with fully annotated and augmented, do it in less than 10 minutes, and then view it immediately on a headset, a mobile device, or on a PC. That they're asking us to turn that into the simulation world. So this is our first step to that. We also won putting our product on the Motar AF Create platform, and they want us to build out their entire XR content delivery database for that. We're currently in discussions with the 149th, 535th, the Air Force Reserves, the 19th, 355th, and others for a StratFi and a TactFi that they want to deploy right now to take it from training to mission execution so that they can immediately give information to the guys that need it. We're also working with Bebop and Talon, and then with several other ones, including all the way to the Pentagon with ABMS and JADC2. Next slide. This is our current system. It's a full stack system that's cloud-based on GovCloud. And next slide. It works and deploys across all devices. Next slide. Thank you very much. In this, there is a video that you can go and watch and see what the product is. And thank you for your time. I know it was a lot.
Wonderful, Jonathan. Thanks so much. I recommend that you share that the video in the chat. We're going to open up the questions from our panel.
I'd be happy to go first. John, that was a great presentation. Thank you so much for this. This is definitely very exciting technology. So you spoke a lot about your defense applications, and that's, you know, really incredibly strong traction. I'm wondering from a dual use perspective, is this something where you're trying to raise any venture dollars? Have you done so, or what are the plans for the commercial applications here?
We've lived off of the projects that have come in so far, but like we just received 10 projects and 4 more on the biopharma area. And so we are looking, this is the first time in our business life that we're looking for funding just to ramp up the staffing that we need to handle 14 projects at once plus 4 DoD projects. It's just exploded on us in the last 4 months.
I guess I'll go next. Hi, Jonathan. Great presentation.
Hi.
Kenny Desai from Google. So with respect to the space-related applications and use cases, any examples?
Yes, and I didn't even put that one in there, but we are now in discussions with our former TPOC, working with PTN and the Space Force for taking this training that can be built almost immediately in minutes and using that with NASA to provide simulator training where you don't just learn from what you're doing, but we're measuring the confidence of the people, of the users inside of the training experience, inside the sims. We're measuring how confident what they're doing. It's not just did they do the right thing, but it's you did the right thing, but you were only 20% confident, or you did the wrong thing, but you were 100% confident. So it gives us insight into the mental awareness and the acuity and the actual cognition of what's happening. And then with primes that we're working with, we're now using our eye tracking and head tracking. We literally know when you're thinking something and when you change a thought. And it does not happen by looking at something. It happens with the peripheral vision, and you have to, it takes an entirely new platform.
Okay, great. Just based on this use case, you might want to also consider talking to airlines, pilot training.
Yes, I didn't add those.
I'll go next. There was a great kind of brand board there with a whole bunch of logos of companies that are your customers. What's your current revenue and how much are you looking to raise?
Our current revenue for this year, well, I'll just say what we just received in the last 30 days was 500,000 in pure revenue, but that's purely on the biopharma side. In the DoD, we received $1 million last year, and we're currently looking between 3 projects at about anywhere. We don't know yet. It depends on how other bases want to contribute in terms of attack, fire, strat-fi. So it would go anywhere from, I'd say 1.5 to 15. We really don't know. They want to ramp up across 2,000 users through the C-17 group and then we're meeting with JSOC next week.
And how much are you planning to raise?
At this point, we were looking to raise about 5 million. And we believe that we want to match that. And then that would allow us to completely finish out 2 complete products. And that is for mission execution on both the 360 video, that's PDF documents, that's digital images, as well as simulator trainings. So we give the APIs and you can use any environment and turn them into lessons immediately. And then we're being asked to move into real estate and also medical training.
You know, I got a question on the actual product. Is it something that you run through, you know, this long training set with users and then it kind of gets locked in, or is it always changing for the life of the product? And I'm trying to imagine how that wouldn't drive me crazy that the buttons were constantly moving.
Yeah, and the buttons don't, but what we're really doing is the way that we control our reflection in a mirror is the exact same way that the interface interacts with you. So it's based on your speed and where you are at that minute. And if you're an expert, it's going to be able to react. We're the only system that reacts faster than you consciously think, but we slow it down because that's sort of creepy when that happens. So, and then you can move slowly, and as you move slowly, everything is very precise. It's micro motions based on 30 to 500 frames a second, depending on the sensors. And we work on any sensor, but that's touch up to eye tracking sensors.
Hey, John, I'm curious about, what you mentioned about the Space Force. It sounds like, well, first of all, who's your customer in the Space Force? Who are you working with? And are you only focused on training, or are you looking at operations too? Because I think there's application beyond training, potential application here when we talk about operations and, ability to understand, confidence of decisions being made. I think that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, and I'll answer real quick. I know the next one's coming up. So we started in training because that's where they asked us to go, but you've said exactly where everybody wants to go, and that's mission operations. Right now, the only contact we have is through our TPOC with NASA. We don't have any other contacts yet, and we would like those in the Space Force. We'd love that in the Space Force.
Okay. And I think I can help with that.
Thank you.
Good. By the way, if you were clear, that's Roger Anderson from Space Force.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. We're moving on to